Hey people, appreciate your time tuning in today. This one is going to be a continuation of a video that I just made that I thought I was just going to delete it. It was really me ranting to get my feelings out because I had just come from a big blowout with my spouse, and I have just filed for divorce. So I don't know what we call her right now. My person, my baby mama. She's been accusing me of things for our whole marriage. I've been accusing her of things for our whole marriage. And I'm sick of hearing this one that it's true in the way she means it, but it's not true in the definition of the word. And I guess I shouldn't care, but I'm sick of hearing the word narcissist thrown around. Narcissistic personality disorder affects 2% of the population. 97.99% of women who cheated on their ex and he said mean things and broke up with them, they have diagnosed their men as narcissists. That is not a DSM criteria, okay? That is not a DSM criteria. A true person with narcissistic personality disorder, and I'm no expert, but I don't have it. I was tested for it 20 years ago. I got in trouble in my first marriage. I was in the Marines. I was married. I was forced into a marriage by my conscience when I was 20 years old. Well, 2 times I've been married to women that I didn't choose. 2 times. I've only been married twice, and they were both the right thing to do. They were both me trying to take responsibility for my actions. I'm a very responsible person. And so I was in the Marines. I was married. My first wife cheated on me the week I married her. And that was a roller coaster ride. The week I married her, she slept with another guy. And then 9/11 happened. So talk about turmoil. Now, I had this crazy marriage that mimicked my crazy childhood because my mother was full of problems. My mother and father were full of problems. And my childhood home was one of chaos. So when I found myself having my first apartment with my first spouse and chaos happened, I said, oh yeah, this is how it goes. I remember this. Yeah, this feels like home. Crazy, right? So try to have a peaceful household for your children because they're going to replicate whatever your household is like. Now, what was the point? Narcissism. I was in trouble with the military for having a crisis erupt with her after I'd been awake for 20-something, 30-something hours, at work for 12 hours, like awake overnight, a 12-hour shift at work, and then because of the war, it was only a few days, 9/11 was a few days prior, and I had to go to this formation until 9 o'clock at night, and then I got assigned to a 4 a.m. guard duty. So I was going to be awake pretty close to 3 days. And I went home to just take a shower, get a change of clothes, knowing I was not going to see my borderline personality disorder troubled wife, medicated wife, who was all alone and could not handle alone. And we had been alone for quite, it was a long stretch for her to be without me for, going on 2 days. It was looking like it was going to be 3 or maybe 4. I went home and she put on a suicide manipulation, which meant I had to tackle her and get her in bed and just hold her. That was her comfort food, right? That was her security. And I fell asleep. I missed the 4 o'clock in the morning post, and the military was going to wreck me. They were going to put me in prison, basically, and strip me of rank, put me in, it was a big deal. This wasn't not wartime. Wartime is serious. Not doing your duty in the military during a war is very severely punished. So I managed to come out of it with all my rank and an honorable discharge. But we both were forced to go to psychiatric evaluation. I was stationed in Hawaii, and I had to go to Tripler Army Medical Hospital to be evaluated for psychiatry. They forced me to go for psych eval so that they couldn't be wrong when they destroyed my career. So that there'd be no process of appeal where I could say, hey, it's not my fault because I've got this or that or the other. So the military was crossing its, list of ways to make sure that when they screwed me, it was going to stick. I went for this evaluation, got tested for all sorts, against the whole DSM. Yeah, I was riddled with anxiety from codependence from this relationship with a borderline personality woman, and I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, and there was a war, and I thought I might die. This is a stressful time. People do stressful things in stressful times. I did not meet the DSM criteria for any personality disorder. Yes, narcissistic traits were my highest score, but they weren't even close to me getting a diagnosis. My narcissistic traits are a defense mechanism for the life I've lived with low self-esteem. And that comes from my childhood, from my mother leaving and me thinking that she left because of me, which is what she said. You can see the other video about that. I don't need to go into it. I'm fine. I'm okay. I love my mother. She loves me. We have a relationship. I forgave her when I came to Christ in 2005. So we're fine. But I can't erase the past, and the past is what built me. And if I want to be new, I have to I have to dig that past up and address it and resolve it and then build new. Okay, so I don't have narcissistic personality disorder, but I can be a jerk. If I'm showing you, if you're my spouse, you're my partner, and I am letting you have access to the deepest secrets of me, I need to know that in that moment I'm feeling safe and vulnerable with you. But I can't untell you my secret, right? So I have to know that you're always safe with my secret. And when you start treating me in a way that I feel pushed away, that I feel invalidated, that I feel disrespected, that I feel unsafe, that I feel like you're not the reliable person that you were when I relied on you, when I divulged and gave you access. See, a person who's been wounded and had to do their own security, a child who has had to fend for themselves and protect themselves from an early age, like before they should have ever had to, they have a hyper alarm system, a hyper alert system. They are not warriors, they are evaders, they are fleers, okay, like guerrilla warfare. They're weak. They're fighting a superpower that can crush them, because that person, when you got low self-esteem and you've got a spouse, you really latch onto them. And their opinion of you becomes your opinion of yourself. That makes them a superpower, okay? That makes them nuclear in your life in terms of danger. When you are more worried about what your spouse thinks of you than you are, because your opinion is so low that you hate yourself. You hate what you see in the mirror. You don't want to live, right? Let's say, I only got there a few times, and it was my own fault because I did bad things. I did horrible things. But let's say that you've got averagely low self-esteem, not enough to be happy. You see gray all the time. Then this person comes in your life. In my case, a woman, is in your life, and she thinks the world of you. Just exactly who you are, she thinks you're fantastic. This boosts you up. So you start reaching outside of you and pulling their opinion of you and putting it inside of you. That gives them the power to withdraw that opinion of you, which will crush you. So you have now made your partner into a nuclear ally. But the devil can make your partner into a nuclear enemy. So as your intimacy fades for various reasons, various mistakes, as the two of you wane and have distance grow at some later date, that former ally now has nuclear capacity to destroy your self-image. So you're constantly trying to stay in alliances but not be in jeopardy. And this is all metaphorical, but this causes testing. How do you feel about me? This causes testing. This causes passive aggressive lashing out. This causes you to the nice guy stuff comes out, and it's not nice. It's more like, and my dogs are seeing something. It's not nice. It's not that you're so nice. It's that you're scared senseless to try to live without your external source of positive emotions. Yes, that is narcissistic. That's why wounded children become narcissistic personality disorder. They have no internal sense of self. They hate who they are, so they invent a false persona. And you've got grandiose and you've got vulnerable, aka covert, meaning secretive. I don't meet the criteria for either one. Yes, I have characteristics. I can say I've walked in those shoes, and I can identify that, and I can identify the root of it. Where did it all come from? So I guess the first thing we all need to consider is that God said in Luke chapter 6, "Judge not, lest you be judged." The same wife that called me narcissistic, I seriously have listened to therapists explaining the DSM and the characteristics. I have listened to a few quite famous, full-blown narcissists that actually are educating others on it. And they describe what it's like to be on the interior of them, like they can't feel empathy, things like this. I have massive empathy, massive. I've had no boundaries. You know, I have a hard time passing by a stray animal. I have a hard time not picking up a bum. I have a hard time not saying something nice to that dopehead girl who I know is just getting used for her vagina. I have massive empathy. My father did too. And this is how I have been so wounded, because I have a person who has huge empathy, a man who has huge empathy, is very vulnerable to the damsel in distress. The damsel in distress is really likely to be a sexually wounded woman. So it's like sin just makes more sin, you know? Ugly just makes more ugly. We interlock in ways that we can't really understand. And what's the cure for all of it? Probably forgiveness. Probably forgiveness, probably not being judgmental, probably not condemning this other person who hurt you. Jesus showed us the way. The most powerful thing that anyone can do is deny themselves, have self-discipline and self-control. Jesus demonstrated, the most powerful man that ever walked the earth, the one who could say, "Be done, and this world will end," just with his words. You think that he got captured on that cross? No, he showed up for his appointment. He showed up to fulfill what he was chosen and created to do. His flesh body was created. He showed up to surrender that perfect blood to fulfill his purpose in accordance with God's will. So when he was on that cross, he could have spoke the words, "Let me down. Kill my captors, kill my tormentors." In an instant, they'd be dead. No, he used his words to speak what honored and glorified God, which was to forgive those who did it to him. So that's the most powerful thing we can do. The most powerful thing the most powerful man did was pray for his captors, was pray for his transgressors, and pray for his crucifiers. So if it's your partner that's crucifying you, the most powerful, life-changing, obedient thing you can do for them is pray that God does not count their sins against them. That God does not count, that he doesn't charge them for the wound, for persecuting you, that he forgives them. You want to see change in your life and in your spouse? That's the prayer you need. Thanks for watching. God bless you.